Good afternoon, my name is Ola Tamanova and I want to thank everybody who joins us in Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform. It's been 10 years of the war and today is day 439 of the full-scale invasion of our homeland by Russian aggressor. And now we will be talking about the defense of our skies. We will be talking about the night attack of the occupiers. Joining us online is Yurii, Ihnat, spokesperson of the Air Force Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Good afternoon, Mr. Yurii. Good afternoon. Mr. Yurii, right now while we're talking there is the air raid alert all over the country. So can you please tell us what should we expect for now? What is the threat for the time being? Well, it's quite an interesting question because MiG-31K is in the skies, which can carry Kinzhal type missile, and we don't have enough Patriot systems or some T which can intercept those types of missile. That's an air ballistic missile that can fly very quickly and hit very precisely. So no matter what, the threat is all over the country in place, and that missile may hit wherever the enemy will want it. This is why the air raid alert is on all over the country. The occupiers attacked our country during the night, and Vitaly Klitschko stated that that was the most massive Shahed attack on the capital. So can you give us a little bit more comments about that attack? We remember the New Year night when we downed 45 out of 45 Shaheds. Then there were 39 more destroyed on the night of the 1st to 2nd January. That was the similar case. The UAVs in amount of 35 units were flying from the south. This is what was going on in the night. The successful and skillful work of our air defense forces, which was emphasized by the commander of the Operational Command South, General Lieutenant Kolenko. And as you see, there is already video in this online of that work that was done. The explosions in the skies above Kyiv, the air defense forces worked 100% efficient, but still there are some buildings damaged as well as a couple of vehicles, but thankfully there were no human casualties. Some people just require medical assistance, but no casualties. Again, thanks God. And I want to draw your attention again to this fact: no matter how confident you are in our air defense forces, still you have to understand everything that may be shut down, it will fall on the ground no matter what, because no one cancelled the gravity. This is why we all have to adhere to the elementary safety rules. Just stay away from the windows. Remember about the 2 walls rule, and who has such an opportunity, please proceed to the shelters, because this is what your life and life of your closest ones may depend on. Those explosive waves that may result from explosions in the sky, they will damage the windows, they will most likely destroy the windows, I mean by those shock waves, so the windows have very little chance of surviving in such situations. And the drones which are being shut down in the skies are not always destroyed completely by air defense forces, so its body may be damaged, its navigation electronics, but its fuse may remain undamaged, and it may fall and explode as it hits the ground. Shahed drones, they are smaller. 131 model is twice smaller as 136, and the fuse of the 136 is in fact like an artillery shell which weighs about 40 kilograms, which may produce quite a serious damage. That's why when air defense forces work, everybody is strictly recommended to adhere to the safety rules. Mr. Yurii, we've seen the aftermath of that strike on Odessa. Was it a drone attack? And talking about the attacks on the regions, which regions were attacked this night? I would like to correct you. Odessa was attacked with Tupolev 22 M3 aircraft. There were 7 of them which were launched from Tarkhankut airfield. And those are the bomber planes that inflicted strikes with X-22 missiles on Odessa. Those are powerful missiles. We know that their fuse weighs about 1,000 kilograms, but they are imprecise. This is why very frequently those missiles hit the residential areas. We remember about Kremenchuk, Dnipro, one of the most eloquent strikes, the eloquent expressions of Russian terrorism. We remember the strikes on the shopping malls. Well, we don't know still about the figures in terms of human casualties, but again, Russian terrorists hit the residential areas, the industrial facilities, no single military target. Again, part of those missiles, they fell into the sea, and some of them reached the shore and damaged the targets that I mentioned. Mr. Yurii, there were a lot of discussions this weekend about downing of Kinzhal missile, and you mentioned that it was the first case in the history when this type of missile was shot down. We've also heard the reaction of our American partners to this event. If you have any feedback, so to what extent do they see this work as efficient? How satisfied are they with the operation of the equipment that they handed over to our armed forces? I don't know whether it would be correct to say about any feedback from our partners. It's already our arms. We have those weapons in our ranks, so to say. So what's important for us is the feedback from Ukrainian citizens who understand that the skies of Ukraine are better protected as these air defense systems are incoming, and we appreciate the input of all of our partners, Americans, Germans, British, who hand over their air defense systems to us, and now we can say those anti-missile systems, because Patriot can shut down not only air dynamic but also air ballistic targets, just like Kinzhal missile, X-47, the ballistic missile. The ballistic missiles are those that fly from the surface, that are launched from the surface, and Kinzhal is air ballistic, which means it's launched from the air. So it's the same as Iskander M, but it's launched from an aircraft from high altitude, and then this missile gets to a target. But yes, that's a historic event. The Air Force commander already announced it, and our partners confirmed it, and the weapons that have no analogs in the world, we've shown to the whole world that we can fight it, but we just need more air defense systems such as SAM-T and Patriot, like SAM-T that we expect, we cannot wait to be deployed in Ukraine, so they work 100%. But again, Ukraine is a big country, we have territory to protect. I mean, not only the borders, but also the territory inside the country, because our infrastructural facilities, our critical infrastructure facilities, nuclear power plants, those are the priority targets for the enemy. Well, not the power plants itself, but substations that ensure the power supply to the nuclear power plant blocks, and such air defense systems as Patriot, NASAMS, SAM-T, and obviously F-16 will help us create one of the best air defense systems in the world. I don't want to make examples of other countries, but we really have or would have one of the best air defense systems as we replace our Soviet material with the newest up-to-date air defense platforms. Mr. Yurii, talking about the situation in our skies closer to the forward edge of the battle area, was the dynamic switches observed there during the forward edge of the battle area. This is what we call it. The dynamic is very tense, just like always. Our pilots on a daily basis struck the occupiers with all means available. The rockets, the guided aviation bombs that we got from our partners, and anti-radar missiles, air defense systems are deployed close to the forward edge of the battle area as well, and we haven't seen for a pretty long time any downed Russian either fixed wing or rotary wing aircraft. Well, you see, the MiG-31 may have already landed, so the enemy does not take off. Why there is no efficient work on the fixed wing and rotary wing aircraft? Because the enemy does not get into the zone of work of Ukrainian air defense systems, and they try to launch their strikes from the distance, just like this night. Tupolev 22 M3 were striking from long distance, and the same story is with X111 or X505 missiles. And again, the tactical aviation, they use FAB 500, the guided aviation bombs, which are equipped with wings, and so they can float, and the GPS trackers that allows our enemy to launch those guided aviation bombs to the depth of 20 to 30 kilometers from the forward edge of the battle area. Obviously, we have to fight it in some way. We have to... Well, we need F-16, not to talk a lot. That would be the type of an aircraft that will give us advantage in the air, in the occupied territories, and drive Russian aviation away from our borders. Thank you very much for this broadcast. We hope that shortly during our broadcast you will report that F-16 is already available to us, and we want to thank our air defense forces for their efficient operation. Thank you for keeping us safe. Dear colleagues, I'm reminding you, joining us was Yurii Ihnat, the spokesperson of the Air Force Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. And our next briefing will be at 1500. Joining us will be Ivan Fedorov, the mayor of Melitopol, and we'll talk about the so-called evacuation of Russians. So stay tuned, work together for our victory, and glory to Ukraine.